It's Christmas at Lorraine Chicken Shack. Come one, come all to the 15th Annual Coquito Festival, Saturday, December 21st, 12 p.m. until 12 a.m. Let me ask, who got the best tasting coquito? Come and find out. Cash prizes for the winners. Live entertainment by Stanley and the 10 Sleepless Nights, Express Band, and from Puerto Rico, salsa musician Tito Nieves.
I'll always love you. Vivo en un mundo de mentiras, fabricando fantasías.
Keeping the mix will be DJ Felix and DJ Ricky. Get ready, cause Santa is coming. Santa Claus will be coming with gifts for children ages 3 to 10 years of age. So come one, come all. It's the 15th Annual Coquito Festival and Christmas at Lorraine Chicken.
I've got my spot. I'm planting my seed from right now to ensure I have the perfect view. For what? Christmas on the ocean. The 2024 St. Croix Christmas Boat Parade. Join me right here on the boardwalk, December 14th, 3 p.m. Steel Pan, Maca Jumbies, R&B Connection. They even have Santa Claus coming. Wood boats, small boats, big boats, sailboats, a sea boat. And after the parade is a world-class fireworks show. Best of all stores will be open late. The roads will be a pre-festival lined with vendors, performers, toys, drinks, and savings on holiday gifts. So come out, meet, greet, and catch up with old friends. Don't miss the 2024 St. Croix Christmas Boat Parade. Wait, there's still time to join. To register a boat, call Joelle at 643-4665. To be a vendor, call Nancy at 513-9219. Best of all, to sponsor and or donate, call Trish or Nadia at 643-0555 or 226-0222. For more information, visit www.stcroixchristmasboatparade.com.
Put your hands up high, represent your home. If you from the VI, oh you there, put your flags up high. VI to the ball, the party don't start until we reach. No, we don't bring no sun to the beach. All we need to hear is a beat. So we go so we go.
Let's redefine getting ready. Today ain't just about stepping out, we stepping up. Starting with the essentials, the Levi Fisher bundle isn't just about looking good, it's about feeling good. Hydrating and grooming that bed perfectly. Next, let's not forget the skin. With Naked Luxury's Fairline Men, we taking premium care that leaves your skin irresistible. Why? Because self-care ain't just a luxury, it's a necessity. So before you head out, remember looking good is more than just clothes, it's about bringing out your natural charm. You think your woman and want to see you rough all the time? Don't forget, look good all the time. Take care of yourself.
Season greetings once again, and welcome to AllAhWeTV. I'm Emmett Prevost, and today's a special day. After 6 years, we finally get an official interview with our Chief Executive, Governor Albert Bryan Jr. Welcome.
Oh, I'm glad to be here. And I learned something new today. It's Prevost.
Prevost.
See, we didn't say Prevost. Prevost. Prevost.
The S and T silent.
It's French.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it is good to be
however
here.
You say it's okay or no. Because when you put it on the check, it's all right. Well, welcome. Happy holidays, season greetings.
Same to you.
How's the holidays treating you? And so today, we're gonna have a candid conversation. We're gonna talk, of course, we're gonna talk the economy, what's happening in the Virgin Islands, where we're heading towards. But we're gonna start it off a little different. I was thinking about it while we were having, preparing. And I said, we all in media want to start with a groundbreaking question. Come out at the gate like it's a hard strap. Let's turn it around. What is it on your mind, in your chest, that don't get asked? Something that you working hard on that the average person don't know. You start by opening the floor.
I think the most important question is what's ahead. It's funny, I picked up Alfonso Christian's memoirs, and he was born in 1916, talking about that time. And reading it shows me how time repeats itself. And we are in the beginning of the 70s right now. Maybe it's like 70, 72, where the Virgin Islands is emerging as a tourism product, oil, alumina, watches, distillation. And there's a boom coming, like a big boom. And, we've seen it happen before, and I'm not seeing people prepare themselves. And the inflation that's going on right now globally is very scary. And all the time, we are, as a government, are preparing for two things. Number one, to make sure that we have the things in place that will support our people in terms of resources, including money. And number two, making sure we are telling people how to survive this inflation. And the real truth is, this is one time where you're going to have to move. Whatever you felt comfortable in doing or being before, unless you're a millionaire, you're going to have to upskill. You're going to have to start a business. You're going to have to figure out how to take advantage, number one, and how to ride the wave that's coming. Because there's a lot of prosperity. But as we've seen in the 70s, prosperity comes with high inflation, overcrowded schools, overworked hospitals, overworked electrical systems. And a lot of people have kind of forgotten where we were before. But I lived through it. I was born in '68 and saw the Virgin Islands go from a place where it was about 30,000 people in 1960s to 100,000 people in 1980. So you're talking about tripling the population in a decade, and the amount of work and prosperity that is coming is going to do that. So we work on that every day, and my top priority right now is energy. That's the way we could maximize what we can do in terms, because if you lower the price of energy, you lower the price of food, you lower the price of transportation, you lower the price even of home ownership. And that's the second thing. We have programs running to make sure that people get vested here at home, and that we help them do that. So whether it's making more cash available for renovations through our landlord program, or sponsoring $200,000 grants on your first home, whether you're building, whether you have an apartment, and regardless essentially of your salary, those are the things that we're doing. Empowering people through assets and finally education. It's a time in the Virgin Islands where even if you graduated, and this is the only place, right?
You get college for free?
Yeah. Even if you graduated in 1968, you could still go to university for free. So most states, even that have any form of college tuition, they have it for the people who are graduating that year, and they get a scholarship. But in the Virgin Islands, part-time or full-time, you could go to college for free.
Is that being taken advantage of as you wish?
Not enough.
You think the message is out enough?
I think the message is out there. I mean, I say it as much as I can. I know my lieutenant governor says it. But we have become a society that is used to immediate goals. So wherever you are in life, for you to get here today, for me to get here, that took work. Like, there's no lotto tickets. Even the person who played the lotto, that's not the first time. They played the lotto for years, and they hit the number. So it takes work. And we have to be willing to put in that work, whether that work is in your time studying, or your time learning a craft, or your time building your business, or the time investing your money properly. It takes work, and people don't want to hear that,
Well, you come out the gate great. You come out the gate. You touch every topic. You touch WAPA, you touch economy, home ownership, everything. So that was a great introduction, and thank you. I think you're waiting to say that.
I say it as much as I can, because I gave a speech the other day, and I said, I feel like Mr. Miyagi, wax on, wax off. People think the things that we are doing in the community are random. They're not random. We've been planning these things for years. And there's two real focuses or streams, you could say. The things that the people want, and the things that the people need. So the things that the people want, racetrack in St. Croix, the roads paved, income tax returns, St. Thomas waterfront, those are the type of things that people want, the retro money. But there's also the things that the people need. The people need to have Medicaid. They need to get the rum cover over so the GRS doesn't go defunct. The people need to make sure, we have the hospitals running, that the light stays on. Those are the things that the people need, which people are concerned about, but generally they're more concerned about the obvious thing, like garbage, the road. But when you get sick, then it becomes a real priority, or somebody in your family.
Are we going to touch on all of that? When you start on the economy, let's look at this current election. And we're gonna go through election. We're gonna talk economy, go through elections, and talk some on it. But let's go specifically because, as you said, people want to know about the issues that are hitting the pocket, that are hitting home. So we could say the national election was a large drive on economy, of course, immigration, other topics. On economy specifically, we are seeing and experiencing, of course, like you said, inflation. We hit it on the head. But here in the VI, even when the states go down, we ain't experiencing that trickle down exactly, specifically the cost of gas. As you said, fuel. We bawl about WAPA, of course. But fuel costs, DLCA, we see the states dropping their cost of fuel, they're at a low, and we still at pandemic levels, maybe hurricane levels. We never see a fuel droppage here in the Virgin Islands. So when it's a difference between $50 a week and $80 a week, you know, which calculates up to a difference of maybe $100 to $400 a month.
Absolutely.
So and I know you have a DLCA commissioner, but you as the chief executive and of course cost of living and these topics, how are you managing your person to say, how are we managing this cost that's affecting the Virgin Islanders?
So I have to tell you first, the greatest fallacy in the world is that DLCA could somehow control any price. I think it's a misnomer that's created by hurricanes. And during hurricanes, we have the ability to freeze prices and not allow the price gouge. But DLCA can't freeze a price by itself. Only the governor of the Virgin Islands really has the power to do that, and only in an emergency situation. So when you talk about fuel costs in the Virgin Islands, you know, and food costs in the Virgin Islands, if you notice, we have been putting out the shopping bag and where the gas is cheapest. So we're forcing competition by having people be more aware. So if you, as a grocer or a gas station, seeing your price is higher and the public is seeing that, then we're going to be able to steer the public over to the lower price, causing this person to lower their price too. So that's the only strategy, really, more so than, you know, the fact that Trump is elected now. The chances of opening up the refinery is great. I think we have a different look at the EPA, and we may be able to get it. Thirdly, really, you know, I probably going to get a lot of flack for saying this, but we really need to pass higher tariffs on four-wheel drive cars, certain weight cars, we need tariffs on tires because we live in a small place, right? And if we want to be able to, number one, be able to manage the trash that we're generating, we need to start to figure out how do we get money to manage that. Putting tariffs against our large cars, whether they're buses or whatever, helps us generate money. But number two, it does is it allows for more parking, because with the large cars now parking is a problem. And if you notice, we are pushing, along with the Biden administration, for electric vehicles. Now, I know there's a fallacy out there that electric vehicles actually cost more because of WAPA. But even with WAPA at this rate, it's still more economical to buy an electric car. So I want to finish with electric vehicles because not only are we paying, there's a $7,500 federal tax credit when you buy an electric vehicle. We're giving you another $5,000 on top of that. As a matter of fact, I think we have about 20 vehicles that we've already given people credits for. Then we're also setting up charging stations around all the territory in order that people could charge their cars. At this point, I don't know if those will be free, but we're starting to do more things to encourage that. But when you live in such a small place like this, I think EV is a way to go. Electrical vehicles is a way to go. But the refinery open and us essentially telling people where they could get cheaper stuff is the only way we control something like gas, which is why there's such an emphasis on WAPA, because that could really collectively lower not only the cost in your house that you're paying, but it lowers the cost of cooling, food, restaurants, and other commodities. So it might not be that prices go down, but it wouldn't go up as quickly as possible.
Well, we're going to get to WAPA, but just on that topic to clarify, because the picture has been painted that when the gas station, these gas companies they buy in such a massive bulk
right.
that even though we've seen prices drop, they still have to remain because they have so much bulk in their inventory.
Right.
So as you said, DLCA can't set prices, but who's the police, the watch, that belongs to DLCA, right? To say, where you buying, how much of this you have at $2, because they could be doing corporate greed.
But even if it's corporate greed, I like to tell you, this is America. Greed is the way this country is run.
Yes, but you understand the point, where who's watching to say, hey, you buy at this cheaper price, your price tag have to go down. Now we ain't seeing $4 a gallon, we seeing $3 a gallon, and then that gonna help also Virgin Islands save some money in their pocket.
So the only thing we could do with that is tell people what they're paying for gas and what they're charging. But we have no control over. If you charging $8 for a gallon of gas, with people buying, they're buying. There's no gouging unless there's a gas shortage. People have the right and the ability to go to another gas station. I just have to tell you, philosophically, I believe in free markets unless there's some kind of impediment that creates scarcity. Like rent, for instance, is something that I think that at some point, we're going to have to start to price control if we want people to be able to work and live here in the Virgin Islands, because it is doubled at least since the hurricane, is sometimes tripled. Yes. And, we can't get people in to do the work like being a police or a teacher or a nurse.
Can't afford it.
Can't afford it.
Yeah.
Can't afford to move to the Virgin Islands. So those are the kind of things.
Economy. We're talking economy. What is being done to help create our new set of successful entrepreneurs? We know there's the EDA program. You and I had this conversation already. However, again, there's a notion that it's easier to succeed coming from away. I like to say with a straw hat on top of your head, and getting everything available for you here in the Virgin Islands versus the local person who is, and local Caribbean, that don't mean just local Virgin Islander, who is working from the ground up coming up. I mean, programs, EDA has a bunch, EDC, right? However, the timeline on these programs, so what is your administration, or how would you like to be remembered creating the next set of 40-year-olds who turn millionaires, 30-year-olds who turn millionaires? And for me, my question has been to you and to EDA, what can we do to help make that funding quicker? So, because that process they have is quite tedious.
Well, it depends on what you're shopping for and how much credit you want. So I would say this. The first part of your question talks about us, right? We
becoming successful and how we are encouraging
we don't like each other to be successful. I could say that. I say it right there on the camera. We don't like each other to be successful. Because if Emmett gained too much, I went to school with Emmett and he don't deserve it. This is not something I'm saying anecdotally. I have to caution people every day about hating on one another. People who think, I know she from time she a baby, how she could be making more money than me? Stop your no, pa. To people who take your contract like, I don't want to get this person so much, this person will be up and down the place. We see that every single day.
How does your administration help?
There's no way to stop that. Okay. We got to stop that. I mean, I wouldn't sit down and lie to you here. People, if you especially on St. Croix, when we are successful, we hide it because people will come looking for you. I have a friend that I tell all the time, you to get blows because people think you're successful and you got money. Actually, I have a couple friends like that, like your money long, and people hate against you. They do. They would rather somebody come from somewhere and get the money and go away.
And so we know the problem. So how can we do it now for the Winston Medias, for the next person who wants to become the Boogie or the Eric? How can we help that, knowing the challenge that they have, create a program that moves it a little quicker?
Let me tell you how, because you gave me rail up, right? Let me tell you how ignorant we is, right? We do things. There are people that we elect that pass things that says nobody. There was just one that was corrected. Nobody who is a family of an elected official could partake in the county bus industry. So the way to do it for us, right, is for us to be able to write legislation that advantages us. Like we did in the cannabis legislation where we said you have to be living here 10 out of 15 years in order to qualify to own a dispensary. We could do the same thing for construction, right? When all these big companies that are coming here now for construction have a carve-out that they have to deal with minority business enterprise. Every single federal contract we have to deal with minority business enterprises. So the opportunity is there, and people always look at the government, right? But the subs underneath the contracts that the government does is ample ways to make opportunity. We have a serious housing shortage now, but nobody's building houses. Everybody wants to build $1 billion. You're going to tell me that it costs $600 a square foot to build a house in St. Thomas or St. Croix? That's ridiculous. So there's opportunity, right? We're giving away money, $200,000 to people to buy a house. They can't find a house to buy. But there's nobody building houses. So how does the government spur that market? Credit. We have, and that's the other thing that really annoy me, nothing is easy, right? I mean, people go to the EDA and say, oh, you got to fill out so much paperwork. Oh, it'll take so much time. You get money that the bank wouldn't lend you. And then the same people, right, go and read the paper and say, oh, look, they get Emmett $100,000 he default on a loan. Well, in order for Emmett to get a loan in the first place,
he had to fill out the paperwork.
And he had to be
do the process.
He had to be refused by the bank. So we got to understand, if we want to really build people, we're going to have to allow people to fail. It's going to cost us money. We've done that. We created innovation programs when we were giving out $10, $15, $20,000 to businesses. We have the state small business credit initiative. You could get back for your loan up to 80% collateralized to the bank. $62 million we have, and we can't spend the money because people ain't taking the credit. So underneath public work, there's a DBE program, that designated small business program, that these large contractors have to participate in. So you can't create a market. You have to exploit one. Business school, I argue with the teacher about that. But the market exists already for housing. I think there's a ready market for, lunch costs $50 for 2 people now. Why does it cost so much? There's market for people having lunch. There's still market in tourism. We're going to have St. Croix, we triple the amount of cruise passengers coming into Frederiksted. And we're about to increase it another 50 to 75% again, right? But where are the businesses that those people can go to? How is the innovation? People are looking for government to lead the way. Private sector have to come and say, this is what we need. We're about to redo the whole of the waterfront of St. Thomas, right? What are the businesses that can thrive because we're putting in there? But, I could go on and on about opportunity and the way that we create opportunity. But it is the heart of an entrepreneur. I know you a long time, right? I mean,
we know each other a long time.
You don't get government insurance. You don't get GRS.
No. That's a whole other thing we got to talk about.
But you're out here hustling to eat every day.
Every day.
Right? And that's what it takes. I've been an entrepreneur and stayed up in the night, 2:00 in the morning, wondering how I'm going to make my mortgage, how I'm going to pay my daughter tuition in college. How many people are really willing to do that grind, to do the work to do that? And I mean, I got a lot of people who want it, but it's really a scary, scary place to be.
It is. And I want to move it along. I just want to say...
But I want to say,
go ahead.
We do need to love and support one another more.
I love that.
So,
and I don't disagree with you with that.
And that's everything.
Let me ask you, you think now, because you in your last 2 years or your second term, you consider, you were always thinking that you want to say you need to love and support each other more, but you couldn't say it in the early days?
Emmett, what's the last thing I'm going to close out every interview with? What is the last thing I say in every time I come on a press conference, I say it every time.
Tell me.
Love you. Love you. You know why? I started it as an experiment during COVID, right? Because love you makes people uncomfortable. They don't believe, sharing love, telling somebody you love. We come a long way along the spectrum. But loving you is something that I do because this is why to do this, number one, and I want to share love with people every day because, and it's so funny, right? I meet people in the street that tell me, I feel like you're talking to me when you say that, you know, because people need love. So when you distributing food stamps, your mind should be, let me get this person as much as they could get. Medicaid, as they qualify, legally qualified, as much as they could get. We had a program in human services with $18 million. Only 60 businesses could have qualified for them, right? They had to have been operating as a school. And they're limiting the people and them trying to bring them down to how much. I like, get them as much money as possible. Give them as much money. But it's a mentality.
So you see the fight from Anita, and you've experienced it on the battle.
Listen, I fight with bureaucrats every day. I fight in one now. It's about somebody who was injured on the job, and the way they were injured, they're saying, oh, they don't qualify. The person actually died.
Wow.
And it's like, why we don't try to help people? You know? It's not your money. As long as you're doing it legally, what is the problem?
Well, in our heads, who's listening to this, we're saying, you as the head. You as the head. Yes, it's a mentality of a people. So I guess we got to do love messages, promote it or something, to push it, to support one another. Like you said, the money is there. It should be given out. We shouldn't be fighting for the money at the end of the day to say, hey, we get this money now, we need you to come use it or XYZ. But it is going on. But you are the head.
Right.
And you are the head, respectfully I say. So how, you don't get more than the head.
You know what? You don't get more than the head.
You know
so
what they need to do? We promote it?
They need to stop term limit cycle being in it for another 8 years. Because I'll tell you, right? Changing culture is so difficult.
Okay.
And we have changed culture in government. We've actually, government employees, household earns actually $10,000 more than they did from when I took office. And we're less in debt. We're $500 million less in debt, at least, maybe $750 million by now, since I took office. The government is younger. It's 10 years younger than it was before. The median age of government employees has gone down. People don't talk about the stuff that we're doing every day to fight poverty. We're paying out $15 million in income taxes next week for Christmas, so people can have money. You heard it here
first.
And
15 million in taxes.
Yeah, 15 million. And that's going to bring up everybody. If you file up to the 23rd of, up to filing day in 2023, you should have your check in the mail. So the things that we paid up $42 million on a long-term retro debt that we had owed. The government had owned for over 40 years. We paid that. We paid back the 8% that people lost. So we've saved a retirement system. You know, I listen to people.
They're telling me we got to go to break. But when we come back, I want you to continue on that. And then we're going to also talk about what lies ahead. What lies ahead. And then we're going to speak through some questions there because you're doing good. You're hitting every nail on the head. But we got to talk some topics and get on some other stuff. So you're here live. We're on AllAhWeTV. It's the holidays. We're talking with Governor Albert Bryan. We want to talk about 2024. We're going to talk about his plans for 2025 and a lot more to come. All right? And don't forget, tonight is the St. Croix Boat Parade. Go out there with your family and go enjoy yourself. And next week is the Coquito Festival over there at Lorraine Chicken Shack with Tito Nieves. You know what I mean? I was telling the governor, reminding him who Tito Nieves is. So come out and dance and do some salsa and bachata and things like that. All right, we'll be right back. At Lorraine Chicken Shack. Come one, come all to the 15th annual Coquito Festival. Saturday, December 21st, 12 p.m. until 12 a.m. Let me ask, who got the best tasting coquito? Come and find out. Cash prizes for the winners. Live entertainment by Stanley and the 10 Sleepless Nights, Express Band, and from Puerto Rico, salsa musician Tito Nieves.
I'll always love you. Vivo en un mundo de mentiras, fabricando fantasías.
Keep in the mix with me, DJ Felix and DJ Ricky. Get ready, because Santa is coming. Santa Claus will be coming with gifts for children ages 3 to 10 years of age. So come one, come all. It's the 15th annual Coquito Festival and Christmas at Lorraine Chicken Shack. We don't have snow, but we got plenty of coquito. Sponsored by Vaya and Toys for Tots.
Vivo en un mundo de mentiras, fabricando fantasías.
Man them, let's redefine getting ready. Today ain't just about stepping out, we stepping up. Starting with the essentials, the Levi Fisher bundle isn't just about looking good, it's about feeling good. Hydrating and grooming that bed perfectly. Next, let's not forget the skin. With Naked Luxury's Fairline Men, we taking premium care that leaves your skin irresistible. Why? Because self-care ain't just a luxury, it's a necessity. So before you head out, remember looking good is more than just clothes. It's about bringing out your natural charm. You think your woman want to see you rough all the time? Don't forget, look good all the time. Take care of yourself.
You from the VI, when you there, put your hands in my pie. Represent your home. If you from the VI, when you there, put your flags in my pie. VI to the ball. The party don't start until we reach. No, we don't bring no sun to the beach. All we need to hear is a beat.
The beauty of the holidays is being able to connect with the people we love. A time of celebration where we can all come together in the season of sharing happiness. Whether it's finding that perfect gift to brighten someone's day or the excitement of a loved one's long-awaited arrival, there is no better feeling. From the bliss of old memories to the gift of new beginnings, it only takes one moment to bring joy. So as we come together this magical season, let the gift of connection be the reason for a holiday to remember. It's one VI to the world.
This holiday, give the gift of connection. Visit us in-store or online at via.vi/holiday to check out our latest offers. It's one holiday to come together with Via.
Listen, welcome back. You're here at AllAhWeTV, and we're having a one-on-one conversation with Governor Albert Bryan. The conversation been flowing. The governor hit on so many topics. We're gonna go back through some of them topics and get a little deeper. Governor, you said your administration, the budget up, the bills lower. You have a lot of younger people in your team
Earning more. The
That's
teacher's salary, starting salary now at $50,000.
Let me ask you a question. And we can't get into personal things, but we're going to ask what's, in the market. And we see when the WAPA CEO departed, and, Mr. Knight, the current CEO, was already heading there. And Ms. Bryan, she emerged and showed herself as credible, But was there a position, and you say, yes, that had to go to the board, the board had to make their decision. You had an influence in that too. For Virgin, the angle I'm going to take on that question was, when Virgin Islanders say, hey, we got a qualified person right there, who's second in command, why is she ain't get a spot? And then now they say, you see, ain't got nothing for me down there. We overlooking our own people. What you say to that?
Oh, I think without getting too personal, I'll say this first. Ashley quit. Ms. Bryan, she
resigned.
Yeah, she resigned. I didn't think she was going to stay at WAPA much longer anyway. But that's just my personal feel. I read people. But I think there are a lot of people here who think they're ready and they get resentful. I have a good friend that told me, right, everybody 2 positions above where they need to be right now. That's how desperate we are for skilled labor. And there is a process to going through. If you had asked me 4 years ago, 6 years ago, if Carl was ready to be CEO of WAPA, I would have told you no. I think that you have to go through processes to get there. I'll use a neutral party.
We use a word called maturity.
Huh?
You have to go through maturity.
It's managerial, emotional, and physical maturity, I think. I was young once too, younger, and I'll take somebody like Adrian, right? Adrian Williams Octolin. Adrian and I met when I went to work with a housing authority, right? Back then, we were in our 20s when we started talking about, and then she introduced me to Carl, right? She was a Section 8 manager. No, she was a family self-sufficiency coordinator. So this was a Section 8 program when I was there that she was ahead of. Then she went to be the head of Section 8. She left there and she went to be the second in command at the Housing Finance Authority. Then Cliff left. She became the head of the Housing Finance Authority.
Well, Cliff ain't really.
Yeah, well, the governor left Cliff.
Yeah.
And then the new governor left Adrian. And then she went to FEMA. And she became the regional administrator in FEMA. Then she came back to government under me to be ODR. So that was
a moment for maturity and development.
Yeah, and you go through a lot of experiences and you see a lot of things. You build a lot of teams. And you have to be in the right place at the right time.
So for Virgin Islanders here and abroad who watching and say there isn't opportunity there, they overlook people, you say that isn't true.
That actually we're really desperate for people, and trying to make sure that we get the right people. But it's like this last week, you can ask my staff, I've been chewing people out necessarily sometimes. And to me, unnecessarily, because I really don't like to chew people out. I like to respect people. But I'm tired of doing other people's jobs. You know what I'm saying? I am so tired of doing other people's jobs. And people want jobs, right? You want to run a company, but when you hit a hard spot, you want to come to me and say, oh, I need $2 million more, or I need $3 million more, without doing the hard work that you have to do in your own agency. Everybody loves being in charge when it's glamorous, not when it's tough. Ain't nobody wanted to be governor when it had COVID. When nobody was stepping up to that.
And you did a good job.
Or
when your team.
Or when the GRS was going broke, nobody even talked about it when it was in the election. So you got to take the good times and the bad times. And I think, this is the second case where I've seen a female, particularly a female, feel that there was some bias towards them or whatever, and said, I'm done. Both people, and I'm not saying it's have anything to do with female, but they just too happen to be females. Excellent people, but it just was timing and attitude and emotional intelligence. Because in this community, you have to realize, right? And you have to have the emotional intelligence. And I talk a lot about it. If you never heard about it, really go ahead and look at it. It's about how you perceive and how you process things, right? You know how many people come to me every day and tell me what people saying about me and who I need to fire and
yeah, you do. You handle that well. We talk about that behind your back. That you haven't been as vindictive as people before you.
But
you have a strong back.
You think I don't?
You laugh at it a lot.
I laugh too because you kill people, and it's like they smile in my face, they shake my hands, they think I don't know what they say, but my way is winning, and that's why I talk about winning a lot, because winning isn't about bragging to people who support me. It's about the haters and telling people when you winning, people are going to drag you down, but you can't be dragged down. You got to look at it from a perspective where if God putting me through this, it must have some reason for that, and it's going to be better on the other side. And it's going to make me stronger.
I love it.
That's emotional intelligence and maturity. I'm not saying that's her problem specifically.
And we weren't talking about that. We're talking about the Virgin Islanders who look abroad and say, hey, this person overlooked or such. And you clarify and say, you have a very young administration. You have an administration that's making a lot more than others. Yeah. Right? And you're seeing it trickle down to everybody too.
It is trickling down.
And that there's room for you here and there's room here in the government. So you touched a lot of things that I wanted to hit on. And I wanted to ask you about your management style. I want to hit too also on, I have a dying question because you said it. When you're number two, you're always looking at number one position. When you were campaigning 6 years ago, and this will be for probably the next person who's getting ready to go into office to say, I want to be governor. When you went from being candidate and saying everything that the other person wasn't doing, how was it when you went in there and day one? You know, it's a different lens when you sit down in the chair. How was it when you get to sit down in the chair?
No,
and then the last question, which is in the community, there's some that's saying that right now the governor, he last 2 years, my boy an autopilot. Things just, this man just, you know,
Let me answer that
he chilling, you know what I mean? Everything just, I could go on with that for 30 minutes, but, you know, so those are the three things we're going to touch on right now. So those who say that you're an autopilot, how do you take that? Are you working hard on issues?
So for the last 2 years, I just stopped playing the politics, you know? We got so many things. I have 100 priority projects. And I have a working board that I go over every Monday with my government house staff. That must have like 50, 60 things, separate from those 100 things. And then there's still things that I'm working on personally alone by myself, right? So there's so much work to do. There's not really time for shenanigans and games. I don't have time to come out and brag about everything I do and talk to people about everything I do. Kind of like in that mode where, what do you want? Tell me concisely. Yes, I could do it. No, I can't do it. And I'm trying to say no a lot more because right now we have 173 projects running. 173. That's just government projects, you know. Besides that, I'm still dealing with all the stuff in Washington, the crisis in the 2 hospitals, the crisis at WAPA, the crisis at Waste Management, you know, with the sewers and all the stuff that we have going on now.
You know what you say about that?
All of that is on my desk at one time.
Yeah.
And at the same time, keeping an eye on the tourism because tourism is softening, right?
Yeah.
That's a concern. And making sure that we could keep the recovery going, actually figuring out how. So, you know, I try to stay out of the banter, and I my friends in the legislature, right? I try not to have anything to say about what they're doing. And I try not to send anything down to them because at this point, we don't really need them that much. They just appropriated a whole bunch of money with the Epstein money and stuff, right? But most of the stuff that we're doing is federal. So we've been working really good together, and I want to say a shout out to Novelle Francis, who has been excellent as the president. We got so much done. I got big up the rest of the legislature that's there now too. We got a lot done. But I'm just trying to stay out of people's way and get my work done because I only have 2 years left. That means that I don't have time to horse around. My clock spinning backward is 2 years. And in reality, after this year and a half pass, nobody ain't studying me. They studying the next governor, right? So getting things done is going to be even more difficult because people could act up because maybe they figure they're going to get fired. And if they get fired, they could last until the new administration. So it's a lot of heads down working right now that we do. But, you know, the state of the territory is coming. We're going to pump that up. We're going to have a lot to say.
Okay.
But I don't think people could really imagine how much. Like today, I had some people at my house, and they're like, "Where you going?" And I was like, "I gotta go work." And they're like, "You work on Saturdays?" I work every day, from the time my eyes open. So we talk about being governor. It hit me the day I won the election. The next morning, I woke up and I was like, "Oh wow, now what?" But I was prepared, right? Because Carl, Adrian, Jen, now all our people, we've been working on this for 20 years. So we were prepared. But in its execution, what I forgot about was pomp and circumstance.
Okay.
So when I thought about it as being governor, I thought about it as a job. So when you get a regular job, you just do your work, right?
But you're saying you got to do the sing and dance.
Yes. So being governor, you got to show up at all these things. You got to entertain certain people. You got to, you got to smile a lot. Your life totally changes. I didn't fathom security, and it took me a long time to get used to people opening up the door for you. They put the child lock on, so I couldn't get out of the car because I'm not very patient. When I reach somewhere, I want to go. Gotta stay in the car and stay seated. People follow you everywhere. So
we actually are kind of personal questions and things like that.
Yeah, but I mean, you know, I expected people are always in my business, so that's not an issue. But I don't like people. I don't like if you ever see me, I don't like entourages. Like you always see me by myself, right? I mean, if I am not myself, I probably have Rosie with me. But I don't travel with 6, 7 people crowding around me. Sometimes you see me alone. I didn't even have anybody with me. So I like being Albert. I don't have a problem being Albert. I really enjoy being me. Being the governor is a totally all-encompassing thing. And you can't get away from it. It's not like you could go somewhere and not be the governor. So even when I go to the mainland, I'm still the governor. I go to Atlanta and try to hide in my shorts. Albert, Governor Bryan, people recognize you. I've been all the way in, Seattle, Washington, and places people recognize you. But I love it. I love the job.
After we talk your management style, we're going to get down to 3 minutes so we can start pushing through cut and clear.
I told you this is going to be longer than 45 minutes.
It's about 60. Your management style. So you say for those who say Governor Autopilot, he's not. He's working on a job, 173, more projects. Every day is something. And man, you on the job.
Besides the normal things, right? I mean, like every day I tell people, to my staff, there's 6,000 people that works in central government. There's 800 miles of road in the Virgin Islands. There's hundreds of buildings, thousands of cars, and lots of moving parts. You can expect something to be wrong today? People will wake up in the morning and be like, "I got that patrol!" Like it's a surprise. We have miles and miles of infrastructure that we have to maintain every day.
You could say that, but when your control arms gone, when your under panel gone, when all them things gone, it add up, The only person smiling is the mechanic.
It does add up all the time because.
But I mean, it's a lot. Like what you're saying, the part is only so much.
Yeah, and that's the other thing. So I'm picking a legislature again. I love to listen to them discuss items because they act like all the problems don't exist. We've given WAPA to keep the light bill down. We've given WAPA over $100 million to keep the light bill down, right? And we don't get any credit for that, because the light bill never went up. We've saved the GRS system. People forget about that. But if the GRS system had gone broke or WAPA and the lights went out for a week, people will have a different perspective. So, yeah, I have money to pay vendors, but it's just like managing your house, right? Mm-hmm. Your car need to fix, and
you
the roof leaking. Yeah, you got to prioritize. All the time. So I have money in different places to be able to move when I say move, because it ain't about me, it's about 100,000 people that depend on me, that I got to make sure it keeps going.
So, Governor, listen, we have money that was given to the Virgin Islands recovery. Right. Let's talk the recovery and specifically what's taking so long. We have a new president in town, there's going to be in town soon. We have a Republican House, the whole Republicans all over. Do you see we are at risk of losing this money? But first, what been taking these projects so long? Right. If you give me money, when you give me my check, well, the agencies, I done take up at the back of the check, I done right now who getting paid, who got wait, what taking so long? We see about 2-3 schools underway.
Yeah. So the couple of things make
projects. I got another one. The bridge in St. Croix, one open, but the one by East Airport Road taking forever. Yeah. What taking these things? And we get money that we in our head thinking sitting. The President Biden, you did successful, begging, and you don't got to do the matching funds as we once had to. So what taking? I know you're going to say workforce.
No. I ain't going to say workforce, first of all. The first thing that took long was the Bipartisan Budget Act, which allowed for the Virgin Islands to be able to, and Puerto Rico, if the building is damaged more than 50% or more, we were allowed to restore the building to today's standards with FEMA money. Okay. Usually FEMA just fixed what broke in from the storm. So it had never been done before. It took Puerto Rico and the Virgin Islands like a year and a half to create the standards. Once we created the standards, right, then we had to go back now and argue with FEMA about how much money they're going to obligate. So you keep hearing these things about, Woodson has been obligated for $300 million, this one obligated. So that's FEMA saying, okay, this is how much money we're going to pay. So in a standard conventional recovery, you don't do that. You go out and you repair everything. And then you go back and you argue with FEMA. But we don't have that kind of money. We don't have $18 billion sitting around. Mm-hmm. So we had to do it in front and then beg for the money from them. So that's part of it. Mm-hmm. COVID, 2 years. People who can't come. Excuse me. Like, just think about something as simple as the sale of the propane facility at WAPA. For like 6 months, nobody could come in, could do an inspection to evaluate it. So we can't even get assessment because nobody on the island could do that. Hotels were closed. And then come back, it still takes 2 years, a year and a half to design a school. Once you design a school, right? So right now we have $2 billion in projects issued in contracts.
Issued in contracts.
Right now. Mm-hmm. By March, we'll have $4 billion. But the unemployment rate in the Virgin Islands is 4%. We opening a new hotel here in St. Thomas. They're fixing Hibiscus. We building 2 new airports. Where are all these people coming from to be able to spend this money? The reality is we out of people. It's 4% unemployment. That's essentially no unemployment. So we talking about finding another 400 construction workers for Charlotte Tamale High. We're under construction now. Another 100 or 200 for, and I talk in St. Thomas because I know mainly St. Thomas is your crowd. Another 100.
We're a Virgin Island company.
I know.
You know when I go St. Croix, I'm a crucial, I'm a Virgin Island.
Another 100, 200 to finish Dunu.
But
right?
Let's ask, so if you're saying that the CHS, you're saying manpower has been part of the issue why it slowed down? Because we're just looking and saying there's money in the bank and the school ain't repaired yet.
Right. So we're not repairing the school, we're tearing it down.
The school ain't.
So we've been trying to tear it down for 2 years. Asbestos, Landmark Society, environmental health. Just to tear it down, we've been through so many delays and we actually had to catalog the school in pictures. Nobody on the island does that. We have to get somebody from the state to come and create this archive of the school. Okay. All of these are federal requirements. Okay. So wait, I want to finish one more thing. Once it started, you know what's holding up the bridge at the airport road?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a sewer line and a fiber optic line that needs to be relocated. Yeah, that they hit when they were doing it. Things that they don't have any knowledge of when they start digging or they're going through. So it's always something, man. Like Dunu ground break 4 years ago.
Yeah, and it stopped.
It stopped because they started hitting environmental hazards. Mm-hmm. Remember Dunu had a problem back in the day where they had buried asbestos on the site? They started hitting some of this. They had to go back and clean all of that stuff up, during which time the person who was doing the project essentially went belly up. So we had to rebid the project. When we rebid the project, it's coming back in at $40 more million. You know, right now we're sending out projects to bid 2 and 3 times because even local projects, Hull Bay. Remember we had this big controversy about the Hull Bay roll-out station. We sent it out to bid. Our projection was somewhere around $800,000. The lowest bid was $4 million. So I give you 100 reasons why projects are taking forever.
But let me ask, and then go to another question. I'm going to ask, are we at risk of losing the money with the new president coming in, or our money lacking?
Our money good. There's an extension right now that Housing Finance Authorities are applying for, which they're probably going to get even before the president. What's at risk from the new president? Energy money. We get a lot of energy money, like $150 million in money for batteries, solar, and stuff. That might be if we don't obligate it. But all that money ain't come out yet, so it's hard to take back. That's about it. I think anything coming down from this administration is going to start to hit us in 26 and 27.
Okay. So let's talk. When the president ran, a whole thing was on deportation. A lot of our construction workers, some have papers, some don't have papers. Right. We already balling for people to work. Does your administration have a plan? You have that on the table, or how are you looking at that situation? Well, you considering this mass deportation thing or no?
I am, but First of all, I mean, I did a little research. It is physically, we don't have the resources, the manpower in America to have mass deportation. They simply can't round up that many people. What they could do is stop them at the border. You know, right now, when people come into the country, right, they go to immigration and turn themselves in. Yeah, I'm here. I have a plane ticket to New York, and what they do is they give them a court date, and they fly, put them on a plane and send them to New York. You knew that?
I've heard.
So there's no way to keep all these people. Where would they put them? They don't have any jail or any facility to put all of these people in. Here, will we have a shakeup? Maybe. You know, I don't know. But I just don't think it's realistic. Right now, what we're trying to do is we're trying to be able to import workers from Colombia and other places in South America legally for the work. And of course, we have these big companies that we're dealing with that could bring work from the States.
Does that hurt your heart saying, man, we should have enough young men them here when an average, let's say, boom, 2 districts, maybe 80 man dying a year, 50 to 80 guys dying a year. Does that hurt your heart saying, now we got to consider bringing in people and we losing our young men?
So let's
how we develop these man them?
Let's be concise, because the murder rate went down while I was governor, and we have been actually reporting less murders, and crime is down too. Murders rate is up this year. Do you know from January to June how many murders we had in the Virgin Islands? This year, January to June.
No.
Take a guess.
I don't want to.
6.
6. In the territory?
In the territory.
January to June.
You know how much we had since June to now?
Boy, maybe 18?
35.
Okay. There's
been 41 murders this year so far. 35 in the last sector of the year. I think we're rounding a corner, hopefully, for them to stop. I think there's some things that are happening legally that is going to help stop that. But if you look at the murders, a lot of the murders from this period, from June to now, they're not even related. And it has caused me great pain when anybody gets murdered. But it's more worrisome this year because there's a lot of random acts of violence. It's not like these people are like really gangsters and they're killing people on another turf, or it's just people getting angry and shooting the other person. And that's real troublesome because, and if you look at people, right, there is a stress on this community. We had like 6 suicides. We've had more suicides in the last year and a half than we had in the last 10 years put together. Think about that. What does that mean? That is the conscience of the community. That's what we're feeling. It's a pressure that's on people. They blowing either somebody else away or themselves away. And there's something about it that is troubling. I try to figure it out, and sometimes I try to blame myself as a government and say, like, well, what is it we could do? But it's just how people feel, you know. What fuels that? I don't know. Social media. In America on a whole, the way that this country runs is by conspicuous consumerism. And what does it mean? Is they have to create a situation in you where you feel you need to buy all the time. Because it's a pyramid scheme. The more you buy, the better the economy goes, and you buy, you buy, you buy. So in order to do that, you have to make people feel like they don't have, like they are lacking, they're in need of, they're not happy enough, they're not rich enough, they're not dressed enough, whatever. Social media and the main media campaigns that you see drive people towards that end. People now showing one another the best times of their lives all the time. They're on the TV, they're traveling, they're eating. Why am I not doing that? Why am I not? Like, these people look happy. I'm not doing that. I'm unhappy. And I think that is creating this sense of angst and lack and anxiety.
And in pressure.
Yeah.
Well, as a governor, I mean, like you said, you really cannot, you can't fix everything, you know, and some of this is on the community, some of it's on families, and, you know, and crime, we can't say how you solve crime. I think that personally, but of course, you bearing the responsibility as the chief executive, and you just answered it, that any and every murder bothers you.
Everyone.
The question was when we said that we are looking at importing
The workers.
People, the workers. Because I think in crime, only education, and you say there's free college education, but not everybody can go to college.
I don't,
you know?
I don't look at it the same way in terms of working, because let me ask you a question. You know, where's your mom from?
Our roots from Tatola.
And
Our
both
father
sides?
from St. Lucia.
Okay, so that's what I'm talking about. I am excited about it. If I would have never met you, you know, my parents are Virgin Islanders. Their parents are Virgin Islanders. And I'm excited because the last time this happened, we got so much more people in here that makes us rich now. We got Lucy, Trini, Antigua, and Kitishan. We got Yankee, Europeans, and Santo Domingans, Haitians. So we're in an area now where we're growing. We're going to get more people to come here. But it's up to us, the people, not to repeat it. I remember being young and people looking, oh, look at all them taxi man, build all them house up in Tatola, right?
No, who you got to buy rent from?
And
right?
Sugar Estate, right? So we are at that point again. We're seeing Dominicans and Haitians move in and start building their life and accumulating assets. The Arabs have been here for a long time, Palestinians, they doing their thing, you know, local people doing their thing. We have to understand that's how the community to grow.
Of course, you're going to have immigration and immigration.
You
will have it.
There's no way, let me say to you and to the public, it cannot happen. It is impossible for Virgin Islanders to build the Virgin Islands back.
By ourselves. We need support.
It was impossible in the 70s. That's why all the people who came from every place else to help us build came, because the work was here and the work gonna be here for a while.
That's true, but what we're asking is the young man them who on the corner, and there's this much opportunity out there. Do you think, or you to see in your head, or I'm just asking, how are we connecting them to opportunity? Now, like we said, and we started the conversation, you got to have that drive. You got to have that will, being an entrepreneur, or even, you know, being an employee. You got to say, I want to get up and go to work. But we're seeing much of them who may be getting, you know, who have gotten murdered or homicides. You know, if it's a typical kind of lifestyle.
So what we're doing on that side is, I don't know when is the last time you visit the correctional facility, but I have been visiting it. I visited one over here and I visited the one in St. Croix.
I went up there one time. I almost got locked in. I was scared.
But when I go up there, I'm looking at what we're doing. We're teaching young men trades now. We have virtual training in there that teach you to be an electrician. We have an equestrian program there where you learn grooming, horse grooming and stuff. We built tiny homes there where we have transitional housing for people who coming out of prison and don't have anywhere to go. We're transitioning people in the States to facilities where there actually are rehabilitative things going on. So when you come out, I don't think any governor has pardoned as much people and commuted as much sentences as I have during their term. People wait till the end, right? You ever heard of a governor commuting people and pardoning people out of jail during the term? Never.
Why you did that?
Because people need a second chance. You got to give people an opportunity to get back. I turned down a lot too. I got a kid, 22 years old. He got 37 years or something more to go on his sentence. Like, my God, you can be in jail till you're 59. But certainly, I can't let you out now because you only did 3-4 years of your sentence. If you look at what we're doing now in terms of creating free job opportunities, I tell you, I run out of things to help people. At the end of the day, is you know.
True.
And that's a message, right? I think I did it too. You know, I used to blame everything on the government. So I'm not pariah in here or try to get in on a pedestal and say, oh, I'm better than anybody, I'm learned now. But at the end of the day, for each and every one of us, it is up to us in order to start to move along that continuum that creates a destiny that's going to be real. And the other thing that we've done is we have a piece of legislation now. You know, when you get life in the Virgin Islands, it's life. When you get life in the States, it's only 30 years. Commuting the sentence to 30 years. We've taken off the mandatory stuff on the gun laws too, because these people getting arrested, they don't know if they're going to go to jail for 10 years or 7 years because they have a gun with an obliterated serial license. We're making it easy to get easier. We put legislation before the legislature so that people don't have to get caught with illegal guns, right? They could be legal guns. Because every time we have a different governor, it's a different process to get a license. So we have failed in gun control. And I ain't saying the Bryan administration has failed. The Virgin Islands has failed. Because what happens now, you have citizens who are getting up illegal guns because they can't get them legally. Because we don't have a process that makes sense. But the legislature hasn't turned over that. They changing it piece by piece, but we need to do it comprehensively. Because once we do that, we're going to do the rules and regs that say what you need to do to be a licensed firearm carrier. That makes sense, right? So I don't know. I try to figure out like what else we could do. You know, I try to motivational speak. I try to figure out how much free trading and free, but it is up to the individual.
True.
You know.
True. And Governor, on that note, we're going to take a commercial break. When we come back, you are right. We're going over a little 60 minutes, but we ain't going over 90. So we're going to go through some 2-3 minute answers, speed through, and then you're going to tell us about 2025, what lies ahead. You're here watching AllAhWeTV. We want to thank Sea Flights. They are one of our partners here today. They're taking us to St. Croix for the boat parade. Make sure you check it out. If you ain't there, watch it live on AllAhWeTV. It'll be expensive, you know, going back and forth between. I hear you say building a boat, but we're going to talk about that boat thing.
Oh, yeah.
Also, we want to credit St. Croix Boat Parade. Coquito Festival, that's coming up next week. Miss Naturalista has a big sale today. Go on and check them out down there, Miss Naturalista. Might be St. Thomas and St. Croix, but definitely St. Thomas. And Via. Via is our strong partners. I hope they are running Via ad because Via is our strong partners. Credit them guys via phone. They are local and they support everybody, man. Them other people, you got a rule where a lot of them out-of-town companies support. Like, I don't know what idiot will be doing watching them, you know. T-Mobile don't, well, you can't say that you hear the governor. T-Mobile don't do nothing.
I could say that. I mean, I just say it all
the time.
Via
giving so much up to my team that be like, Via always giving.
Yeah.
You know?
Always.
But we still here. Anyway, let's go to commercial and come right back.
Want extra cash this holiday? Come to Via. Get the new iPhone 16 on us. A prepaid MasterCard to spend how you want, an entry for a $500 weekly grand prize just for being a Via customer. You heard right. Keep your phone number, no service contract, a new iPhone 16, and over $25,000 in prizes. It's one VI this holiday with Via.
It's Christmas at Lorraine Chicken Shack. Come one, come all to the 15th annual Coquito Festival, Saturday, December 21st, 12 p.m. until 12 a.m. Let me ask, who got the best taste in Coquito? Come and find out. Cash prizes for the winners. Live entertainment by Stanley and the 10 Sleepless Nights, Express Band, and from Puerto Rico, salsa musician Tito Nieves.
I'll always love you. Vivo en un mundo de mentiras, fabricando fantasías.
Keeping the mix will be DJ Felix and DJ Ricky. Get ready, cause Santa is coming. Santa Claus will be coming with gifts for children ages 3 to 10 years of age. So come one, come all. It's the 15th annual Coquito Festival and Christmas at Lorraine Chicken Shack. We don't have snow, but we got plenty of Coquito. Sponsored by Via and Toys for Tots.
Vivo en un mundo de mentiras, fabricando fantasías.
I've got my spot. I'm planting my seed from right now to ensure I have the perfect view. For what? Christmas on the ocean. The 2024 St. Croix Christmas Boat Parade. Join me right here on the boardwalk, December 14th, 3 p.m. Steel Pan, Maca Jumbies, R&B Connection. They even have Santa Claus coming. Wood boats, small boats, big boats, sailboats, a sea of boats. And after the parade is a world-class fireworks show. Best of all stores will be open late. The roads will be a pre-festival lined with vendors, performers, toys, drinks, and savings on holiday gifts. So come out, meet, greet, and catch up with old friends. Don't miss the 2024 St. Croix Christmas Boat Parade. Wait, there's still time to join. To register a boat, call Joelle at 643-4665. To be a vendor, call Nancy at 513-9219. Best of all, to sponsor and or donate, call Trish or Nadia at 643-0555 or 226-0222. For more information, visit www.stcroixchristmasboatparade.com.
The first step in securing your business or home is erecting a fence so the non-invited can keep out and the invited can be guided in. Now, a solid, beautiful exterior structure not only enhances the appearance, but also increases the value of your home or commercial property. Meet Bender and Associates. They are the experts in aluminum and stainless steel, including their manufacture and repair. Their work include gates, automatic and manual, stairs, security bars, wheelchair ramps. Hey, once you dream it and it involves steel, aluminum, or any metal structure, Bender and Associates can build or repair it. And for those who love the metals with beautiful designs, Bender and Associates can do that also. Time to get started by calling 340-244-0861. Oh yes, Bender and Associates service the entire Virgin Islands. Bender and Associates, beautifying your property while securing your peace of mind.
Want extra cash this holiday? Come to Via. Get the new iPhone 16 on us. A prepaid MasterCard to spend how you want, an entry for a $500 weekly grand prize just for being a Via customer. You heard right. Keep your phone number, no service contract, a new iPhone 16, and over $25,000 in prizes. It's one VI this holiday with Via.
Put your hands in my pie. Represent your home. If you from the VI, oh, you there, put your flags in my pie. VI to the ball. The party don't start until we reach. No, we don't bring no sun to the beach. All we need to hear is a beat. So we go tongue, 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 tongue.
Welcome back. We're having a great conversation here with Governor Bryan. Governor Bryan, listen, one thing you could talk. You could talk and explain yourself very well. From the day I met you, I always love that about you. Listen, let's talk. It's a little bit on the economy and where we're going. We're importing about 90 to 95% of the stuff that's coming in here, specifically food. We have an agriculture department. My uncle wrote a proposal, which became bill, which was for 1% of the budget. I have to do this with my uncle because I brought it up.
That's your uncle?
That's my uncle's spot. As a Bodo man, as a Rasta man in the heart. Okay? So listen, it's 1% of the budget.
Yeah.
And that would have supported, you signed it into law.
Yeah.
It would have supported.
That was her legislation. She
Novell.
sponsored the...
Novell.
Really?
Yeah, Bilal Allison, I think Novell is who make it come true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's in the law.
It's law, but it's not in effect.
It is effect. Agriculture has $10 million. I gave them $10 million. If you don't believe me, ask the commissioner. They have a project right now. They're building a big system down in Bodo. They have some irrigation projects included in there. They have some equipment included in there.
So you're saying the 1%, they are getting the 1% from the budget?
No. I gave them an extra $10 million.
You get an extra
but
10.
They still get that budget
because
every year.
I called when Jen was there, and Jen said, no, we couldn't do it at that time. That's my
Who said,
that. What I'm saying is agriculture on a whole. We bringing in food. St. Croix was once the breadbasket of the Caribbean. We are always in St. Croix, that's my home. And I fly over St. Croix and I say, man, St. Croix once had the best beef. St. Croix, it's just farm. Farm. I thought
it's a lot more than just farm.
I thought when they were doing the weed bill, I had say they had need cannabis. Let me say weed.
Like the weed bill.
When they were doing, you grow 50% cannabis, grow 50% agriculture. I see how much people want to do it, but that's a whole nother story about the cannabis. My point of the story is, what is your administration doing as we see food costs going up, importing going up? You go to the supermarket, my gosh, and it's a trickle down. They're doing it so. What are we doing to push this? And especially since we have that 1% of the budget. Because your budget is almost $1 billion, so that's almost $10 million that could go to agriculture.
I think.
And then you look at the average farmer now is like 65 years old. What we're doing to cultivate new farmers. Because in the States, again, grant and all kind of support, there is some support in SBDC, and then you'll come with that. But what we're doing to push the agriculture program.
But the 10 million, there's grant money in there too. We have a sizable agriculture program. I think we got this is the way I said to them. So we got hobbyists, right? Backyard farmers. Then we get some people who are hobbyists. Some of them have small plots. They may sell occasionally in the markets and stuff. And then we have real farmers. We don't have that many real farmers. And the real farmers are really doing well and doing their own thing. We try to facilitate as much as we can. I mean, one of the far more successful farmers I could think of, Rich the Reef and Sager Farms. They have their stuff going every day. I think we just signed a new lease with Sager, giving them more arable land. But like you said, I personally, this is what the people want. Agriculture is one of those things. We put the money in there, but I mean, like we can't really be serious, right? I mean, with agriculture, it sounds nice to say, but the only reason why we have as many people on this island as we have is because we could import the food. We could never. St. Croix used to be the breadbasket when they had 10,000 people, not when they had 50,000 people. So when people talk about this, and I listen to them in the past, the reality is it never was like that. It was 10,000 people because they couldn't feed more than that at the time. Are we doing stuff for agriculture? Yes. We have a new aquaponics program that the university got turned over. They're redoing it now. We got like 60,000 square foot of green space that we want to help to power the school lunch program and bring produce down. I think cannabis is the biggest agricultural prospect we ever had.
I was holding up there. I mean, 1 minute we
cannabis
they need a board,
we need another
this,
hour.
they need a that.
We need another hour. But cannabis rolling.
They're rolling.
Yeah, I think we should have bid packages out within the first quarter for dispensaries and that sort.
So you said we're going to have what?
The bids out for, there's only 7 dispensaries in St. Thomas, 7 in St. Croix, and I think it's 3 or something in St. John. Because you can't move cannabis between the islands legally.
Okay.
There are things that have to be done. The lab, we actually created a lab with the government because nobody else wanted to do it. We ordered the equipment now that's coming in for that. And then when you think about growing, that's complicated. So right now you could get a grower's license from the Office of Cannabis. So if you're personal use, you could go to a doctor and get a prescription, and you could grow, I think it's 6 plants or something like that. So it's moving along slowly. And then hemp, we actually have a hemp regulation process as well too, and we issued 2 licenses for growing of hemp. 2 of those businesses, at least one I could say for sure, is gone under. I don't think we have a functioning hemp.
So do you think things take way too long? And again, you being the head, what can be done to expedite things taking too long? You can't stay in this like paperwork that sit on somebody's desk, then another person's desk, or in the queue. But what we could do to expedite it?
But
okay, weed is the answer, then we should all be growing. That's a joke.
It ain't that simple. I got a rule that says if it looks simple, it ain't, right?
But I'm just saying, because we talked about process through here and Virgin Islanders ourselves, so it always comes back to the process being a whole lot. So what can we do to help expedite the process?
We could change the law in a lot of ways. You
and not only cannabis we're talking about.
No, like you mentioned how do we make Virgin Islands entrepreneurs, right? So
support those that are.
So I could put everybody to work, but the federal government won't let me. So this is the government controls prices. If it could, to your point earlier, right? If we didn't have this troublesome bidding process and all this here, the government could say, listen, every contractor in the Virgin Islands that want to work, meet me property and procurement or meet me high school, sit down. If you bonded, you got equipment and you're ready to work, this is what we're paying. We want to build a school. This is how much we're paying per square foot. For cement, tiles, this is how much we're paying. and put everybody to work. But you know what, later. Everything is regulated. Everything has rules. You know, people think like being governor, you could just go and demand and say, you do this, like this wrongful death claim I have in workers' comp right now. I can't go and say, pay it. There's laws. True. I have to comply with the laws too. We have procurement. I think we just changed the procurement ceiling. I think it went up to 100 or 150,000 where you could be. I should be able to say, listen, Emmett, you should be able to come to me and say, I want to put up Christmas trees in the government. I'm going to charge you $50 a Christmas tree. I'm going to put up 400 of them. I should be able to say, okay, $50 is reasonable. Let me do that. I can't do that.
You can't do it. It has processes. But what we've seen is...
It's like, it takes forever.
Listen, I'm going to be honest with you, and I'm going to give a credit right here. And we do selective business with the government. Because, as we say, there is a process, but there's people who move the process, and there are people who play stalemate. I don't give credit to Charmaine Myers, because she don't walk the process. God bless her. If the government had 100 more Charmaine, you know, and there's others. We have a good relationship with VIPD. We have, you know, but there are some that just sit down.
I totally agree with you.
So the process is the people. And I
the process is the what?
It's the people.
It's not the governor? That's what everybody thinks. I mean, and you just think about, I'll show you another thing, right? This is controversial. We got some people in education right now who may or may not have, or allegedly knew what was happening with the guy Bruce Smith, where people made a complaint, right, and nothing was done, right?
Okay.
So as anybody who deal with children or whatever, if you don't know, have to report. If you see bruises or you see anything that looks like it, it's your duty to report. If you don't, you could be charged criminally and you could be fired, right? But everybody deserves due process. You can't just go and say, well, the evidence shows that you did it, you're fired. You still have a union. You have to have your day in court.
Yes.
So the public is saying, why you don't get rid of these people? These people, but they got an opportunity to represent what they have to say. We have contracts in the government that says, like education contract specifically says, you cannot stop paying a teacher until final arbitration. That takes years sometimes. So you got to keep them on duty with pay while you investigate something. And that's with everything else going on. That's the process. You know, you can't just say, you killed my brother, let me throw you in jail, lock you up forever. There's a process.
True.
And because of that, things take time. Listen, nobody complains about the length of time the thing takes more than me. But you got to look at the other side too. You could register your car. We forget. My partner called me the other day. He said, one thing I got to say. He said, I used to take a day off to register my car. I had to register my car from my house now. I could get my birth certificate online. I could file for a marriage license online. I could pull up any statistic about the government online. I could know how much the government's spending is online. And sometimes people come in and be like, well, you call me for the information, it's online. You can look at every plot and property in the Virgin Islands, see who it belongs to, see who billing for it, online. The tickets, the e-tickets for police, they're coming out soon. All of that is going to be online. So we have moved way along the country. When is the last time you had people complain about how long it takes a business license to get processed? Right? You don't hear nobody complaining about that no more. I mean, birth certificates now, we have all of that stuff computerized, but nobody don't talk about the stuff that we fixed. They talk about the new problems. So there's a lot of things that people were complaining about 6 years ago that they're not complaining about now. And I forget because there's so much. Yeah. Remember we automated the unemployment whole process now is online. You don't
I don't know about that. I don't know about that thing.
You don't get that, man.
I don't get those things.
You don't get that.
You know, we're talking and good answer. So listen, let's talk on. Yes, I was talking to a colleague, a family member, and she indicated, you know, we're talking and we're getting at hospitals now, the conditions of it. Healthcare in the Virgin Islands. You mentioned earlier, you said I'm at your self-employed. Insurance, that's under the LT division. And you know my argument, the whole other argument on we should self-insure ourselves, but that's a whole nother speech.
Working on it.
Whole nother hour.
Working on it. No, working on it. Like people saying they say things, it's like, you can't talk about everything the government is doing because it's too much. But we are looking at self-insurance.
And that that holds up self-employment. Because some people and someone clerk or working for the government, they really want to be someplace else. But I mean, it's hard living out here on faith.
You know,
I carry around a rosemary.
But you know, the private sector in the Virgin Islands, the taxpayers that don't work for the government never say a word. No one ever says, right? The government of the Virgin Islands, who the private sector paying for it, no one ever says, my road ain't paved because the governor gave the GRS $3 billion over the next 30 years. Nobody ever says that. Nobody ever says, why is the government paying a 40-year-old debt of retropay, giving out government employees $40 million and promise to give out $25 million and my road ain't paved? No one ever says, how come the government insurance and health insurance and a retirement is 10 times better than mine and I'm paying for it?
Yes.
No one ever says that, right? No one ever says, you know, we're paying, we're starting teachers now at $50,000 a year. Why aren't we getting a better product out of high school? Nobody ever say that. So the government runs the government. The government employees essentially run the government. 70% of the people don't work for the government, right? We took and paid back a pay cut because we couldn't make the money, right? We couldn't make budget. So we paid back $40 million to the government employees. That's $40 million a road ain't paved. That's $40 million ain't gone to school repair. That's $40 million ain't gone to fixing up the hospital. No one ever says that. So when we make choices, right, we listen to what the public says. Mm-hmm. When the haulers strike, nobody ever says, you know, why are they striking and why they need more money? We the taxpayers paying for it, right? Nobody ever says that. So the money doesn't come from a miracle place, you know. When you say, the public say we should do this, when there's outrage about this, we shift the money to where the money needs to be. And when we shift that money, guess what? Something don't get done.
Very true.
Right?
I'm going to tell you something controversial. You make a comment all day. You want to know what day I like? I like the day when the government employees, you remember when I had a little glitch and the payroll were late?
Yeah.
I like that day, boy. I was smiling.
Why?
Because I said, no, I know how I feel.
Yeah.
No, I mean, you know, it's controversial, but that was a good day.
No, I mean,
it was a good, because
like
you said it, 30% of you in the population works for the government. But if you're running an election, all you hear about is government employees. All you hear about is the benefits. You hear about all of that. That's all you hear about.
But whose fault is that?
You know,
the private sector don't say nothing.
We don't say nothing. So where we come into now, and we're coming back to that, is healthcare. You know, you said you're working on it. We don't get too much down on that. I want to jump on the conditions of the hospital. Mm-hmm. And we have Virgin Islanders who preparing to retire, already retired. And like you said, those with the beautiful healthcare, like the government employees, right, they go in half island. So the money moving half island, they're getting the healthcare services done abroad. And they're saying that because of the conditions here and the cost specifically, even those with insurance. So the question is, I mean, yes, we have CEOs of the hospital, we have Commissioner of Health, but ultimately, what are we doing to improve the quality of healthcare here in the Virgin Islands so we could keep the money here in the Virgin Islands and even make it a better product?
So have you spent any time in the hospital here? Yourself? You have spent time in this hospital? I'm asking.
But I'm going to be honest. My children, one born in St. Thomas, one born in St. Croix, excellent treatment.
I want to say,
excellent
I hear people say this stuff all
Both
the time.
of them, excellent treatment.
I've spent time, I never spent in St. Thomas, but I've spent in St.
Excellent treatment. The people are terrific.
And people are shocked.
The conditions.
Okay,
you're here in the Virgin Islands, we start to wrap up. And I've told it to the CEO here. I said, man, add some wood floor on the ground, no man.
Where?
Step by step, from in the lobby. We could start to
St. Thomas
improve the
Hospital?
place. Yeah, man.
What's wrong with it?
You think it's pretty? When you go there and you compare it, like I gone inside what the big places in the States.
Where they have 5 million people who pay taxes to power. But my thing is, I'm saying,
move around some chairs.
We compare our hospital to Miami General. We're a
don't have the population.
Rural community.
Understood.
You got to go in Puerto Rico and go in Auxilio Mutual or go out in the country to one of them hospitals to see what you're comparing to what. You can't compare our hospitals to Mayo.
But the challenge is...
Wait, let me finish now, because I want to say this too. Anything you see wrong with our hospital now, we're making minimum repairs because we're building 2 new hospitals, completely new hospitals. So everything that you see going to be ripped down in the next 5 years.
5 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, boy.
But the point is the care, though. We give each hospital $10 million. And the hospital's struggling for money now because it's costing them more and more to bring personnel in.
They say they're right now struggling for payroll.
We had 3 payrolls in November, I think it was, and we had to give them some extra money. But we keep pumping money into it. You know, between COVID, I think we spent over $200 million on hospitals here in the Virgin.
So we're being clear.
Healthcare, I shouldn't say just hospital.
And we're going to start to wrap up that the service providers, they're excellent. You know, the people who are providing the service is terrific. You know, but what we are saying is that, like you said, with the insured pay for the uninsured, as you know the arithmetic. However, the insured are going off island because they're saying the cost of healthcare here and the conditions.
Let's say this, right? We can't say the insured pay for the insured without uninsured without adding that. The taxpayers of the Virgin Islands give each hospital $26 million a year. $26 million a year each, right? And people who go to the hospital responsible for what? Paying the hospital bills, which people don't like to do. We're doing much better. But the other thing I don't think we get credit for is, in the States, if you get sick, they will take you in the hospital, patch you up, and put you on the road. Here, we have to take care of you forever until you get better again, because there is no other hospital to send you to.
Yeah.
The hospital has a tremendous burden with people leaving their parents in the hospital that don't need medical care. We have so many borders that we have to be moving all the time. So the 2 hospitals in the Virgin Islands don't have the luxury of pick, choose, and refuse. And a lot of people get care at the hospital, including me and my family. We go to the hospital here because if you have an emergency,
you got to go to the hospital.
You got to go. So when you talk about the broadness of care, right? You know, people will say, "Oh, the hospitals are bad." We went through 3 years of COVID, right? I have probably the lowest death rate in the country.
Great job.
No, I'm just saying the same hospitals taking care of people. You know, when you couldn't get on a respirator in the States and were dying, you were here being taken care of.
Still.
Okay, I'm just saying, the same hospitals people are saying, good. Do they need improvement? Yeah, they need improvement.
You answered it right there.
Right?
You answered it right there. And little things. I mean, if you can't pay payroll, you can't buy paint, right?
Lastly.
And you can't buy flowers and new chair to put in the place, right? Because your first priority is payroll.
The hospital just get new beds. They get that. The St. Croix Hospital is totally new. Everything in there new. That's a brand new hospital they get. It has its problems. Yes. I've been in there. It has its problems, but it's new. They get another hospital, and St. Thomas getting another hospital. Myra Keaton, I hope it's going to be finished next year. Not Myra Keaton, Charlotte Kimmerman. And then Myra Keaton, that bid going out soon. But healthcare is a problem everywhere, you know. It's hard to find specialists. There's a waiting list. You can't even get into Mayo and some of these other clinics anymore. They're not taking any new patients. Our hospital is still serving them. And I always say, if this hospital if they know what's wrong with you, you're good. But if they don't know what's wrong with you, then you're going to need off-island care. And guess what? We fly you to wherever you want to go, whether you have insurance or not, and then fly you back. So when people knock the hospital, I'll be very careful if you compare pound for pound, our hospital to any hospital in any rural area, we are far superior with the amount of trauma that our doctors and nurses and people deal with. Excellent care. And I ask people, have you stayed in the hospital? And every time, I rarely get a bad experience, you know. You got some people you get bad experiences everywhere.
But like we acknowledge and we want to put for the record, excellent workers in there.
Absolutely.
And passionate, and they do a great job. So big up.
And at times at risk too, because we don't have the materials and supplies we need sometimes. They struggle. I want to big up Tina Commission.
That's cash flow.
Yeah, that's cash flow. I want to big up Tina because she's been doing a yeoman's job as CEO. We're looking for a new CEO in St. Croix. The hospital board is working on that. But we used to have a lot of issues with the hospital board when I became governor too. When's the last time you heard controversy? Remember the St. Croix? People forget, the St. Croix Hospital Board were fighting with the St. Thomas Hospital Board.
So no more unity?
Squash. Yeah.
All right.
We actually have legislation coming to really unify and have one hospital system. We do, but we want to make it official.
Okay. So listen, it's been excellent. We're going to talk here 2025, but before we go, of course, there's always the big fat lady in the room, Wapa. Yeah. St. Croix, you had said we had asked for questions to come in, and a few were submitted, and it's indicated, it said, after you were elected in office for your second term in 2022, the timeline stated for St. Croix to have a solar power grid that will reduce the cost of electricity was 1 year out. We're now at the 2-year mark. What is the state? I know I fly over the other day and I see a bunch of solar panels like close by Zephyr building or something like that.
We actually turn on Petronella, which is the one on East End already. We actually have the ribbon cutting this week on that one, and then the one in West is Hoggensburg.
So we're going to see power bill go down?
The power bill can go down. Not now. I mean, you got to think about it. We've been subsidizing the power bill for a long time. WAPA got a lot of bills. We're still in trouble. The price of chicken has tripled, right?
Yeah.
What about meat? Gas went up, right?
That's what we're talking about. That.
But for 6 years.
But in America, gas gone down.
But for 6 years, the light bill hasn't moved.
Sure.
So I'm asking the PSC. They were just about to reduce it the other day. They watch Salazar now in St. Thomas.
So we're saying WAPA got to catch itself?
Yeah. Otherwise, we can just drive it back. Because listen, once again, before Albert Bryan and Tregenza Roach were governor and lieutenant governor, the government owed WAPA $20 million running. You know what that represents? Not maintaining generators, not maintaining systems, deferring all kinds of maintenance, not being able to buy bucket trucks. So it's no wonder like the thing falling apart in St. Thomas. Remember when we had a power out for like a 2 weeks all the time because somebody hit a cable?
Okay.
They didn't fix the other cable that go around that would have fixed the problem because they didn't have any money. So you got to give WAPA at least a little chance to catch itself. And then the rates are going to go down.
Go ahead.
At the same time, the rates are going to drop to a place for WAPA that's lower than what it is now. But we have to allow WAPA to run at a profit. You can't run a business breaking even. Because when bad they come, you down in the slum, and that's what has happened. So
what timeline looking like?
I think by the end of 25, we should be pretty good. The rates should start to drop, yeah.
Okay.
But right now, I just trying not to let them go up. So they still calling every day, every week.
With issues.
They need money. I mean, it was like we keep.
Listen, I want to talk to you 2025, but you just mentioned WAPA, and it came to me that we're seeing. Remember one time WAPA had workers. Now we've seen the contractor have a strong presence. So if the contractor, obviously we're a contractor, we're vendors, and if we making the money, you ask yourself, well, the agency don't have workers, the agency don't have equipment.
I'm going to say, you remember I just told you what they deferred and all the workers to lose and the maintenance and I mean, the other thing too is we owe them contractors too, you know. So you working for me, everybody want to get a check every Thursday, you know, right? Every Thursday, they pay they come, they get a check. The contractors ain't getting paid, you know. WAPA got outstanding debts.
Well, we know it as vendors. You know, there was good points in your administration and others where, listen, like clockwork, we were getting checks, and money were coming out. Now we know things been a little slow coming out and so forth. Is that we're waiting on the tourism season to kick up? Or what's happening?
Yeah, we're waiting on the tourism section to kick up, but the price has gone up for the government too. You know, it's not inflation, so inflation is eating away at what money we had. Everything's more expensive. Labor's more expensive. We're paying people more. But, we're waiting for things to kind of catch up on more generation.
And what we do to bring in new revenue, because sometimes we talking money that, you know, we're talking hundreds of millions. And like you said earlier, we hoping to trickle down. But, you know, of course, we want to see and kind of feel it. You know?
Well, we anticipate.
And your position, how are you out there looking to, and let's just say it right here, I mean, only the executive branch look like they're bringing in money. We actually, the legislative branch is supposed to bring in money too.
Actually, they're the only ones supposed to be. Their job is to generate revenue, is to make legislation to procure revenue. You remember, people forget, you remember when the governor used to say it's up to the legislature to provide the raises for the people? You remember that?
When they paying attention.
When they before, they used to negotiate the contracts and then tell the unions them go to the legislature to get in money, and they couldn't get in money. In this administration, we don't have that. We ain't behind on nobody, and we pay. We just lost some case the other day where they're saying we owe the workers $20 million. That's the taxpayers again. $20 million in retro pay, which I think is bizarre, but I won't go there though. My point is though that we're paying people out. We could pay all the vendors, but we ain't issuing no more tax check like it used to be before. We ain't paying our light bill like it used to be before. We ain't paying GRS like it used to be before. And we ain't paying a retro pay like it used to be before. We're not doing all those things. We're paying everybody, right? So we getting dinged for trying to do the right thing. We had $125 million in cash in Epstein money. And the legislature didn't pay vendors. They didn't pay retro pay. They said $10 million for a Carnival Village in St. John, $25 million in a high-value interest account, $25 million for another gym in Nazareth, next to the gym, why in Nazareth already, Ivana Idoreken. So who broke, right? We got money in the bank sitting down that could be addressing other issues. We took a line of credit, but that money I have to pay back. So I could go now and take $50 million and pay off everything that we owe. But you gotta pay back. And I am a very conservative person. So we took 25. We take 15 from some money I had stored away. We pay tax returns. So people need money for Christmas. It's all managing. But just like in your house where you live, you can't pay everything at once,
Vendors will get some money for Christmas?
Yeah, we got $25 million on the road right now.
For vendors?
Yeah.
Okay.
Plus we got some other money coming down.
2025 question coming. We look at St. Thomas here, we look at the main street, and we see, half of Main Street closed.
Dude.
Half of Main Street closed. What we doing to
you trying to make me look good? We about to announce a new project for Main Street.
So you say you're revitalizing Main Street?
Yeah, about $30-40 million in projects. Listen out for it. It's coming soon for Main Street.
But half of the buildings privately owned, and they get the rents ridiculous. How does the government, how do you go in there and say, listen, we're hurting ourselves?
Wait for the announcement.
Okay.
The rent has to go down based on what we're working on. So I can't talk about it yet. And then in St. Croix, we just finished redoing all of the paving in Christiansted, Hospital Street. We try and get a boardwalk open all the way to Gallows Bay. We did Gallows Bay Pier. The Port Authority sent out an RFP for the development of the Gallows Bay for Port and Ferry Terminal. That's coming up. And we're finishing up the pier in Frederickstead. So there's a lot of stuff going on in the downtown areas. And of course, my abandoned and derelict building legislation. The legislature needs to pass something. No, everybody afraid. I take up the difficult problems. Before I know, the problems that we solve are difficult problems. But, other people ain't brave. They would say, oh, he only brave now because he ain't got to run again. I was brave in the first term. I told him I was going to fix GRS. I did.
So 2025, what looks ahead for you and how you want to be remembered? Because 2026, you rolling out of here, right?
No, why? 7. 27.
2025.
7th of January, 2027, I think is the date. I have it on my phone, counting backwards. I get depressed when I think about that. But 2025, we're gonna finish out, rebuild USVI. We should have, by the end of 25, we should have about $8 billion in contracts let out. And then you're going to start to see real hammers and nails walking. Envision program is back and doing well now. We're going to be opening the Hampton Bay, the Hampton Inn in St. Thomas. I'm looking forward to that. We should start to see work begin on our airports with the new airport deal. Crown Bay is development we got going on with that. And in St. Croix, we're building a whole new airport in St. Croix too. So that should move on. Hopefully, we start the beginnings of the refinery We'll see the rest
So
of
that's
the
coming
summer.
back, the refinery?
I think so. I think we're going to start, with Trump administration, we're going to start doing that, building back. So it's like 2025 is looking real good. We're opening 5 new Head Start centers in 2025.
You travel around the Caribbean, you see, and I put up a post now and again, and I show them when Bahamas have about 6 mega ships in, you know, and then the people start saying about the harbor, you know, the beautification people, you know, but we have to keep up with our competitors. And, you know, hotels.
You know, people talk that crap, right? You know, I listen to people talking about keep up with your competitors.
But you have Dominican Republic, right?
We pay more in health insurance than Jamaicans and Dominican Republic people make on average a year.
Of course.
Well, so what are you talking about keeping up? They got to keep up with us. When you're talking about
the
selling
tourist
your tourism
arrivals,
product.
the number of hotels they have, like we said, we have the Hampton Inn coming in. Outside of that, we ain't had a new hotel in here in quite some time.
There's one in Botany Bay too, and Sugar Bay is on the repair. Canal Bay is about to go out to bid. They just extended the bid, Delegate Plaskett. Working on them to get a longer lease so we could get a better hotel out there. There's a lot of stuff going on. Certainly in tourism, we have to deal with Royal Caribbean, the third port down in Crown Bay. We're increasing passengers in St. Croix about 75%. And then we add in more flights every year coming into St. Croix and St. Thomas. We just can't, we're busting at the seams in St. Thomas. So we redoing our tourism product. If you think about it, especially, well, on 2 islands. St. Thomas, you look at from Vendors Plaza, how Teachers Park, you go up there, we redid the whole of Vendors Plaza. We put in the downtown bathrooms, Post Office Square. We renovated and cleaned up Emancipation Garden. We got some more stuff coming in there. We about to, we did Educators Park. Main Street is done. We about to extend Veteran Drive around the legislature all the way down to Tatola Wharf. We just got our money. So St. Thomas is getting an almost complete rehab in what we're doing there. I talked about what we've been doing in Frederickstead, and Christian said St. John is just on its own in terms of it's just driving thing. We just upgraded the ferry terminal over there as well. So we have done more in 6 years than administrations combined, whether 8 of, because there's just so much to do. I mean, right now we've already started paving the entire airport road from West Airport to East Airport.
Did I fix them road good? Because it's like the road that still be flat. I'm trying to get the Commissioner of Public Works to talk to me. You know, come and interview with me. I asked him to fix something. He got quiet. It still come talk to me. This is a friendly house.
What you ask him to fix?
You don't feel friendly here when you came here?
Yeah, well,
it's nice.
I have a high level of emotional intelligence. Not saying you don't, because I don't take it personal, right? People need something to complain about every day, and then certainly there are things to complain about. Either we're going to fix it or we're not.
Yeah, so, that's all it is. I fix it myself. But listen,
there are different types of road repair, I'll say this. So some place we overlay, and some place we mill and grind, and some place we totally do the subsurface.
Yeah. My father-in-law would say, you know, when you with an 80-year-old, and I tell you how things was. And he said they used to build the road on a slant, so the water could have run off. It seems like these contractors.
Oh, you mean like
yeah?
So it runs off to the
water
side.
like it's settling. I'm happy to see the airport road need to fix.
Yeah,
but I'm like, is it going to get back the same? You know, how we improving? A young lady actually had asked that question. She was saying and she's 19 years old, and she was you answered it in many different ways. Question from a Gen Z: as a young person who plans to build a family here, I'm concerned about the aging infrastructure of the VI. Specifically the roads, the landfill, and energy and power. You've answered all of that.
Yeah.
You know?
I think she has the most promise. I mean, you're 19, you're going to get 2 new landfill, total sewer and water replacement. I mean, when you look at the sewers and lines in St. Thomas collapsing every minute, you've had record rainfall this year. You think those sewer lines just collapsing? So the ground's so moist and saturated, they collapse in the pipes now. You know? But anyway, we could talk a lot.
We could talk. How you want to be remembered, and then we get out of here.
I heard Mike Tyson. You need to look it up when Mike Tyson talk about legacy, and I so agree with him. I don't think about being remembered. I think about now and what I need to do now. I think about it sometimes that there will be a legacy, regardless. I love being governor, and I have a lot of fun being governor. I mean, I have my bad days too. Legacy is not really a concern of mine, to be very honest with you. It's just the now. But I would like to be remembered fondly. Just that I try my best and do my best to help people all the time. Because that's all I do. Figure out a way to help people. And sometimes, you know, people is their own worst enemy. I'll leave it on that. No matter what you do, they can't get out of their own way. And we as Virgin Islanders, we are so blessed. I mean, when in every way, I saw some stuff the other day that the Virgin Islands get a fair shake of federal funds. We get so much money that I'm afraid. Like, I don't mention it when I go to the States too much because we have been blessed in so many ways. I mean, I think people like forget that we went through a pandemic where we were all in our house scared with the entire economy shut down. We paid everybody for 2 years to stay home, you know.
You paid government workers.
We had lotteries for $100,000. We give people stimulus checks for the private sector mostly on that. We give people all kinds of stuff I created. We give the seniors money just to help people. People forget that, you know.
I always the government employees get more.
Always.
They always get more.
Yeah, they get more.
You know, they don't, and they ain't grateful.
You said that.
I
love the government employees.
listen, man. So, hey, listen, all the best, and thank you for the time. Thank you for the conversation.
I'm gonna get Commissioner Gabriel on here for you too.
It's an open door, you know. It's an open door. You know, we just want to talk about the roads and the budget and what's going on and stuff like that. But that's this conversation. You mentioned that you just came out of Washington. The last thing was with. You know, you can't get into any current case, and don't, please. Mm-hmm. You know, when you go to Washington and then there's, you know, rumors and challenges at home, do they question you? Because you're up there lobbying and fighting for us to get, hey, I can't match it, I ain't got the money to do that, and then somebody have a case or saying there's a whistleblower and we have problems at home. Is that affecting what's happening in Washington for us?
I think the way that the media reports stuff, definitely, because they read them. The way that everybody in D.C. that find out about it is what they read in the Daily News or the Consortium or see on AllAhWeTV.
No, but we say good news here.
I'm just saying, I'm not saying good or bad, I'm just saying they report on. And no, I haven't had that concern. The most concerns we have is spending. People, especially if the acting HUD Secretary, Adrian Todman, she expressed it in the paper, she just worries about, are we spending enough? But this is what I tell people, right? It takes 46,000 employees in the Virgin Islands government to spend $1.5 billion every year. That's the payroll. So when you think about spending $1.5 billion, we would need 46,000 people working for a year, for 10 years, to spend $15 billion. We got 18. So just think about multiplying the amount of people we have here by 2, and we would still take us 10 years to spend our money. That's how big the recovery is. And so when I listen to people talk about it moving slow, the faster this recovery moves, the more threatened Virgin Islanders are going to be, because it's going to push rent out a distance, it's going to push building a house out a distance, it's going to push construction costs through the roof, and it's going to push all prices, food, transportation, everything. So, yeah.
But at the same time, they're showing them in a modular school, or, you know, it's like the pain during the process. You know, like WAPA, we still paying the high price.
I'm just saying, the priority is hospitals and schools. We're getting them built. But mark my words when I say, you're going to remember when I say, the faster the recovery goes, the worse off it's going to be for people in the Virgin Islands.
Governor, it was great having you. Thank you for the time. Listen, we just stay tuned to AllAhWeTV. We get lives popping up. We doing things. We covering. We showing the Virgin Islands. That's what we try to do, you know. And we need your help. You don't know. You watching this interview, hearing what the governor say. You should say, I want my ad to play like Sea Flight, like Miss Naturalista. Like, you know, that's how it works. Just don't stay down there. You know, Carnival, we'd have hit 1 million views easy.
Wow.
1 million views is like nothing for us. You know what I mean? Imagine when D. Winston give us some content.
Can I plug my stuff? The Governor's Children Parade is tonight at Havenside. Bring your kids, free presents. I will be there. Santa will be there. Come out and have a good time.
So if you want sales, call us 340-228-1199. Don't be just opening your door wishing for people to come in. Let's do an ad for you. Let's make you part of the content. A lot is going on. We said boat parade tonight. AllAhWeTV. We're going over and see flights. We're going to be there live and direct. If you're in day, watch it on us. But you know you have the fireworks. You got the boat parade. And there's a whole street festival. The governor get his children thing over here in St. Thomas. Come out. Have a nice time. Main Street was so beautiful last night. Imagine if that were once a month.
Well, we gave the chamber $250,000 to do just that, and we also gave $250,000 to Christian side and $250,000 to Frederick side. All these little things, it's like we could go on talking all day about programs, but yes, we could do it every month. Yeah, you know,
but we could take private businesses. We could come together. We don't gotta wait on the government. We could come together and tell them we need security and stuff like that. We could do that ourselves because we bringing people together. So listen, keep it locked to AllAhWeTV. It's Christmas, it's festival. We're going to be doing a lot. Governor, you give them your holiday wishes and blessings and stuff like that. You take it out of here, and we're going to run some commercials.
Well, a most Merry Christmas and a beautiful holiday season to everybody in the Virgin Islands and wherever Virgin Islanders are here and abroad. Just know that it's better here where it's green all over. The sun is shining, the sky is blue along with the beautiful waters. And all we got is love alone. Love you.